All right, y'all getting a back-to-back video today. But once again, it's your boy, the Conscious Coon Killer, killing the coon within me and the coon within you. Just doing these two videos real quick back-to-back. If you didn't check my last video, it's just me asking the men what are some things that you hold in high regard about yourself, some qualities of yourself that you like outside of money and getting women. But this real quick, this dude on Twitter, right? I was responding to this tweet. If you guys have ever watched the YouTube channel, the Grapevine TV, they have some pretty good content on there. It's basically a panel of all black people, black men, black women, black folks from all over the world, and they just talk about different things that affect us as black people. Great channel. It's kind of more, I guess you could say, Pan-African-esque type of channel. But anyway, so I got into this conversation with one of the women that regularly is on that show, and somebody had said something about reparations for ADOS, generational Black Americans, and I responded to that like, yeah, are y'all gonna ever talk about that? Because they've at least to my knowledge have never talked about reparations, and that's kind of a big thing right now in the political stratosphere. And she responded asking me, what specifically would I want them to talk about and yada yada yada, because she feels a lot of folks just say that just to kind of say it. So I broke down some examples and just kind of broke down what I mean by Black Americans and ADOS and everything like that. Like, I've done a video on ADOS and stuff before, so you guys already know. And I was just kind of breaking down, just far as money, land, free counseling for PTSD, so on and so forth, and just their opinions as black people across the world, generational Black Americans, black immigrants, so on and so forth, what's their opinions on that, all this kind of stuff. So this dude, I don't know if he's a black immigrant or what, but this dude just went on talking about how, oh, well, how are we gonna know who's who and all this type of stuff. I'm like, man, you know what a generational Black American is. Like, well, not really, because you got folks who were technically white who might have a great grandparent that was black, that was, in slavery in America, and da. So should they get reparations, all type of stuff? I'm like, look, if you want to be that petty, honestly, they could break that shit down by percentages and give them a small cut. I don't really care about that. They know who is who, because when it comes to this generational race wealth gap and just systematic racial oppression, they know who to oppress. And I understand that black immigrants in America, as well obviously as other countries, deal with racism. I'm not saying it's just generational Black Americans. I'm just saying that we've been dealing with this for hundreds of years in this country specifically, and we have a specific claim to specific reparations in this country for things that our ancestors specifically have gone through and that we have inherited, and things that we're still going through today. And once again, I understand that black immigrants are also dealing with racism as well. I'm not trying to disparage that, but we specifically, as generational Black Americans, are owed reparations for slavery and Jim Crow. Most Black Americans collectively didn't start coming over here until around the 1970s. I say between the 70s and the 90s is when you started to see more black immigrants and things like that, right? So this fool's talking about, well, slavery was a long time ago and it would be too hard to figure out who is who. I think it would make more sense, to just distribute reparations for black people in America post 1965, post civil rights movement, or maybe Jim Crow a little bit, but mostly post 1965. I'm like, man, I'm thinking like, you ain't slick. You just bringing this up because you know that most Black American, or excuse me, Black American immigrants, most, non-generational Black Americans, didn't start coming over here until after the Civil Rights Movement. So this fool kept trying to specify that, oh, well, slavery was too long ago and it's too hard to figure out, and Jim Crow was one thing, but even then we should kind of focus more post 1965 and all this stuff. And look, I don't know, just some fool on Twitter, but I'm like, like, there's a good chance that this cat is not a generational Black American or ADOS, whatever you want to say. There's a good chance that this guy is a black immigrant or a first generation Black American, something to that effect, right? And I'm just like, come on, man. Like, I mean, we went back and forth for a minute. I just stopped. I'm like, this fool just wasting my time. I'm like, they had no issues figuring out who's who when it came to reparations for white Jews or reparations for Japanese Americans, Native Americans, so on and so forth. And I got no issues with them getting reparations, but I'm like, they had no problem figuring that out. He's like, oh, well, that wasn't that long ago. You know, slavery was a long time ago. I'm like, okay, I didn't say just slavery. You know, I'm talking about slavery, Jim Crow, the whole nine. My father was born in 1949. Okay, he remembers Jim Crow. My mom and dad both. You know, they remember the Jim Crow era. So we as generational Black Americans are owed reparations for all of that, and even now. But you know, especially uh, chattel slavery here in America and Jim Crow, right? But he kept talking about how slavery was so long ago, and you know, we shouldn't worry just about that. When I never specified strictly getting reparations just for the transatlantic slave trade here in America. All I ever said was that us as ADOS are owed reparations. Now these fools, these, you know, most likely black immigrants want to come on here talking about semantics, talking about, oh well, that was a long time ago, or we should focus on now, or post civil rights movement, all this slick stuff. I'm like, yo, this is gonna be an interesting time to look back on, man. Like for real. I just want to come on here and say that real quick. I just thought that was just hilarious to me. But that's social media for you. You're gonna get clowns like that. But you know, be privy to this. And also, though, he did have a good point though about people that are essentially white at this point who, you know, may have a black ancestor, a great 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 you know, black grandparents, something like that, things like this. You know, technically, they do have a black slave that was, you know, a slave during slavery and things like this. So, you know, you're gonna have essentially your $5 Indians, quote unquote, but just for, you know, I'm putting quotes because obviously that's not, they wouldn't be considered $5 Indians, but I'm saying you're gonna have the same principle of that, but with this whole ADOS movement, everything like this, with white folks trying to claim that they're black now to try to, you know, possibly get reparations, you know. So we do need to be privy to that. But like I said, I mean, if somebody does or can prove that they have a black ancestor that was enslaved and things like this here in America, I'm not personally, I know people probably gonna get mad. I'm not saying that they couldn't get reparations, but it better be a small percent. You know, if your asses can only, you know, prove that you, let's say 10%, you know, black, you know, black, and that 10% is from a ancestor that was here during slavery, during Jim Crow, something like this, then your ass should only get 10% of the reparations that we're owed, whether that's, like I said, money, land, combination of both, whatever, whatever, right? But yeah, be privy to that because you know that's coming with these folks, man, with these white folks and stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna get up on out of here. Gotta uh, get rolling to work and everything like that here soon. Just staying on that grind. But yeah, I just want to say that real quick. But yeah, as always, I gotta get this. I gotta get my beard kind of lined up too. Shit. But anyway, it's your boy, the Conscious Coon Killer, killing the coon within me and the coon within you. Peace out.